Hello there, everybody. My name is Kador, and coming at you from home during this quarantine pandemic to show off some more records and tapes and CDs and all that. A lot of this is stuff I've had for a while. Most of it I actually had when I filmed the last video. I just hadn't gotten around to listening to it yet. So I finally got around to listen to everything. So just kind of gonna go over all the rest of what's in my collection currently that I've not already shown off. So as usual, most of this is gonna be noise and that sort of thing. I've kind of decided like I only really buy physical media when it's either like an obscure noise tape that isn't available online or like has cool packaging or something, or just like a vinyl LP of one of my all-time favorite albums, regardless of whether it's noise or not. That's sort of the two reasons why I would buy something physical nowadays. So I'm gonna start with two more accessible LPs that are just kind of some of my favorite albums. Uh, that I have, and then the rest of it will essentially just be noise, mostly blind buys and that sort of thing. So starting off, we have Godspeed You Black Emperor with the album Alleluia, Don't Bend, Ascend. This is this band is probably the most well-known band within the genre of post-rock, and maybe slightly controversial opinion, but I actually think this is just about as good as Lift Your Skinny Fists. I mean, Skinny Fists has the first 6 minutes of Storm, which is like one of the best stretches of music ever. This doesn't have anything that compares to that, but this does. I think it's almost like even more consistent all the way through. Some really cool, like almost I want to say like Middle Eastern influence, or I don't know, some kind of Asian like music scales that are worked their way into the track melodic. But as usual, Godspeed packaging is very strange. So yeah, you have this very desolate looking cover photo. On the back, you have this. You can just kind of pause and read that if you want. I don't really know how to make sense of any of it. But yeah, very weird kind of pseudo-philosophical nonsense that I think I don't think they're like trying to be, really pretentious or anything. I think it's, they're pretty aware of how silly it is. But then on the inside, you have this cool gatefold, very aesthetic photos. And this album's interesting because it's actually an LP plus a 7-inch, because so the LP has like the two main like big sprawling post-rock tracks, and that is on here. And then the 7-inch just has this shorter like sort of 5-ish minute interludes that I guess they're supposed to go in between the two tracks, but I'm not just going to play one side of the LP and then remove it and put a 7-inch on and then just keep switching it like that. So I usually just play the sort of droney tracks in the 7-inch afterwards. But anyway, here you kind of see the tracks and what order they're supposed to go in. And here you have, basically just liner notes on the inserts. Some weird photos, and yeah, it's just strange and entertaining, their liner notes always. And yeah, nothing really too special about the record, but then you have the 7-inch, which is kind of in the other portion of the gatefold, just kind of laying loose. And that's got this. Where is it even open? There. And then this on the other side. And yeah, so these are more just sort of the droney, noisy kind of tracks, and the other ones are more the post-rock ones. But yeah, really great album. If you're into post-rock, you have to listen to this. Again, it's some of their best material in my opinion. And the other LP I have today is the first album by Sun Kil Moon, Ghost of the Great Highway. I'm not really sure how this is all supposed to be oriented. I kind of forget how everything was put together when it first arrived, because you take it out of this outer sleeve, and it has this sort of obi strip, I guess is what it's called, that just comes off the side, just sort of announcing like, hey, it's a new album from the guy from Red House Painters, look at that. And then if you kind of like open up the gatefold, you can actually get the cover art, which kind of oriented how it's supposed to be, with the whole thing. You have the track list in the back, and the inside is pretty plain, but you get the liner notes and all that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to take out the LPs. It's a double LP, but nothing too special about the records themselves. But yeah, Sun Kil Moon, Ghost of the Great Highway. A beautiful album. It's folk rock, that kind of thing. A little bit of like alt country tinge to it, which normally would kind of bother me, but it's just absolutely beautiful here. Some of the saddest songs I've ever heard. Extremely melancholic. Yeah, it's just good like sad boy music, like chill sad boy music if you're feeling that way. Yeah, just so many really really good, really really amazing songs on here. I can't believe the 180 he's taken with his latest material. I hate his latest stuff. Like I can't stand it. Just the weird spoken word rambly nonsense. But this early stuff is just fantastic, and I haven't actually heard too many of his albums. I need to listen to more of it. But yeah, this is a really really great album for those of you into melancholic folk and folk rock. So check it out. All right, and now getting a little bit into the noise side of things, but also this is the last record I have to show, is the Split 7-inch EP by Hagra and Hades Mining Co. I got this because I have another 7-inch by Hagra that I showed off before. I think it's just their self-titled one, and it's just really solid power electronics, pretty much. Just kind of a wall of noise with the dude shouting on top. And I didn't really know who Hades Mining Co. was, but yeah, I decided to kind of get it. It was pretty cheap. So it comes out, it's released on like 3 different labels, I guess, down there. But it kind of just opens up in this fold-out sort of thing. So you have the inside has kind of, track lists and liner notes and whatnot for both acts. And then the actual record itself is pretty neat. It's like white with these kind of black squirrels thrown in. Kind of lights blaring out a little bit, but yeah. So yeah, Hades Mining Co. is just kind of like noisecore. They changed their style actually quite a bit over the course of this. But yeah, some of it's just like kind of more like grindcore that's really noisy, and then some of it's like literally them just like hitting like kitchen utensils together. Just like it's kind of dumb. It's, I don't know, inconsistent. But the Hagra side is very good as always. Just solid power electronics, and yeah, fun noisecore on the other side if you are into that. All right, and now getting into the tapes. I'm going to start with kind of the weirdly packaged ones because those are more interesting. So first we have this. This is Image of a Woman by Purgist, and I don't know, I just kind of kept it in this plastic thing because it doesn't really seal completely. There's maybe a way for me to do it if I'm careful, but it's kind of bulging out because inside is some panties. Why not? Yeah, a noise packaging, everybody. So it's just this metal box that had those wrapped in it, and then it has the actual cassette in this other container. So yeah, I'll talk about the music in a sec, but basically just kind of one of these things that opens up like this, and you have these just cards. So you have the cover art, and then you have track lists and stuff. And there's this other card like that has allegedly the Bandcamp thing. If you can read that and put that in yourself, go ahead. You go to purgist.bandcamp.com/yum, Y-U-M, and you can try to put that code in yourself. Didn't work for me. It is like handwritten, so maybe I just like misinterpreted what it says, but I put in every combination of like, the letters that I think it could have been, and it didn't work. So if you want to go try and go ahead, and you can get a digital copy, but it's on like, Bandcamp for streaming anyway. So anyway, yeah, and this is just tape. It's clear. It's cool. Purgist is a very interesting kind of noise artist. He's sort of like post-industrial cut-up noise is what I would kind of call him. It's a bit of a cleaner sound. It's not super harsh, but it's a very good sound design. And yeah, and there's some more melodic synths actually that come into play, and some ambient stuff as well. So it's definitely not just noise. It's a lot more accessible, I would say. Though still very abstract electronic music. But yeah, anyway, I don't entirely know the concept behind this release, but I think it's totally ridiculous that it's packaged with panties. So I don't know what exactly I'm going to do with these, but I'll probably just keep them in the box for now. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. It's a good album also. It's a good EP. I kind of prefer some of his earlier tapes, but yeah, and Purchase stuff is definitely worth checking out. Next, we have a tape by Boar, who is one of the better cut-up harsh noise artists that I have discovered. This is an album called Union Park. It has collage art. It was released on Fusty, that label, a label that Ether released our last tape on. So it's kind of similar packaging actually to the last Ether tape with this oversized kind of thing in a bag with the tape just kind of sandwiched between these two inserts. So if you take this out, well, here's the tape, and it also has kind of like ripped up thing stuck onto it from the art. And then there's also another little insert that I'm having a tough time getting out. Alright, there we go. So yeah, it just kind of opens up. You have the label logo on that side, and then this photo and just the track list. So this consists of a lot of different, some live performances, some just untitled tracks, and some remixes. A lot of remixes actually from other artists, like Purchase actually is on here, as well as the dude behind Facial Mess and Like Weeds. So a lot of just a lot of great cut up noise on this thing. Just very solid for fans of that kind of spastic stop and start harsh noise style. You can't go wrong with this. And then we have this double tape thing. This is actually the only kind of I guess you'd call this like a jewel case that houses two tapes that I have. It's kind of oversized thing, so that's pretty cool. So this is actually a 4-way split between Boar, the last guy I showed, Circuit Wound, Skin Graft, and A Snake in the Garden. I was familiar and a fan of the work of those first three. I didn't really know as much about A Snake in the Garden, but I figured it was worth getting because I like all those artists. I really like the cover art too. It's this cool jellyfish painting. So yeah, you kind of open it up and there's these tapes. Got to be careful not to let them fall out, but So yeah, you get more jellyfish going on here, and then opens up into kind of the track list, that sort of thing. So the board track on here actually is a harsh noise wall, straight up just harsh noise wall. It's actually like kind of the opposite of the stuff on Union Park. It's a good harsh noise wall, very harsh, very intense, and it's completely static. It just doesn't change at all. But yeah, it's good stuff. I don't honestly remember that much about the other artists on here, but I remember it being just solid harsh noise all around. So yeah, I would check out pretty much all these artists. Definitely Boar, and then Circuit Wound and Skin Graft. I've definitely liked the stuff I've heard from them as well. Next, we have the album Complicated and Costly by LB, which I think stands for something like I don't know, Little Boyfriend or something. It's not little, it's something boyfriend. I don't know. But yeah, this is an interesting little tape. So it's in one of these kind of containers where you open it up like this, and you have all these inserts. So yeah, the tape is just like this yellow thing, yellow green. But so this is very themed around, well, gravity, as you can see, and mainly it's themed around the rocket launch actually. So you have these little things that open up, and there's just all these kind of little inserts with little cartoons and photos, just basically pertaining to the rocket launch. I don't know which rocket launch exactly. I think it was the one that like exploded in there. Was like Challenger or something. Yeah, I think right there is like where it exploded. So kind of a tragedy, I guess. But yeah, it's all very themed around that. So pretty interesting. Just to throw in all these little inserts and a very specific theme, and the noise itself reflects that as well. It's honestly not great. It's just kind of it's just standard kind of harsh noise without too much variation. But then there's like samples of people talking about this kind of stuff, and like people saying like 3, 2, 1 blast off, and just like various rocket speech, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's just samples throughout. So I don't know, not great or anything, but it's an interesting concept. Next is Crystal Green Pineapple by Andrew Coltrane. Is YouTube gonna flag me for this? I don't know. Whatever. So yeah, this is on this label that I will not say, which always does these kind of like paint splotches here, which is cool. And yeah, pretty plain as far as packaging, but this is a pretty interesting release. It's noise, but it has some kind of melodicism here and there. It has some sort of drones that make strange melodies. They're not like trying to be like melancholic or emotional kind of synth melodies. They're just like kind of weird, but they are melodies. So that separates it from your average noise release. But yeah, otherwise nothing too special about this. Then there is a tape by Video Blue called Water Symbols. This is released on Ascetic House, which is a cool label. Lately, they've done a lot more just kind of techno and house, I guess, just like more experimental forms of dance music. But earlier on, they were more of a noise label, and this is sort of a midway point, I would say, between both of those things. I would kind of put it in like the deconstructed club tag, but it's different from a lot of that stuff. It's a bit more lo-fi, and it's I don't know. It's just kind of like drony ambience with like weird like non-floor in the four on the floor kind of drum patterns, I guess. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Takes a while to get going. I don't love it all the way through, but there are definitely some cool moments on here, and I can't say I've heard this kind of style anywhere else, so it's pretty unique. So this is an interesting one. I really couldn't find any information whatsoever about this tape online, and I wasn't even really sure what to search because the only thing I could see is it says Ursus on the side here, so I assume that's the artist name, but I don't even know what the album is called. If you open it up, it says If Bird or Devil on this side of the tape, and nothing on this side. And there's this poem, which I tried searching but couldn't find anything about that. And then on the inside, you see it says If Bird or Devil and The Wild Wood, which are presumably both sides of this tape, the tracks on each side. And then it says By Something, but it's just this scribble that I can't make out, so that doesn't really help. But yeah, I managed to find a noise artist named Ursus, who is from the UK and presumably did this because it is a noise tape. It's not really harsh noise. It's just kind of like noise. I don't know how else to put it. It gets kind of minimal at times. Just kind of weird like synth feedback kind of bloops. I don't know. It's all right. Not a huge fan, but there's some cool parts, and it's sort of in a style of its own. So it's interesting. But yeah, it's just crazy. I couldn't find any information whatsoever on this specific tape online. So I added it myself. So now it's on like Discogs and Rate Your Music and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, that doesn't happen too often. Next up, we got the album Burning Faith by Pollutive Static. I pretty much just got this because it's a Hal Hutchinson project, and Hal Hutchinson made this album called like what is it, like Metalwork Installations or something like that, Wreckage Installations, which is basically him just like smashing junk metal around with like gradually increasing levels of distortion, and it's a really great album. I'd highly recommend that for fans of like junk metal noise. But anyway, this is pretty different. It's just kind of standard harsh noise, sort of almost wall, but there's enough variation so it's not complete harsh noise wall. Nothing really special, but I mean it scratches the noise edge, I suppose. So Burning Faith Part 1, Part 2, and then you got just kind of this little minimal liner notes and track list and all that, released on Phage Tapes. And that's all I have to say about that. And then the last tape we got here is another one I couldn't really find online. I could find it on Bandcamp, and I could find the mentioning that there was a tape on Bandcamp, but I couldn't actually find it listed on like Discogs or anything like that. So this is No Love Left for Our Children by Versus Media Co., which I think is both the artist and the label, if I'm not mistaken. But pretty much it's in this cardboard like sleeve sort of thing. So you then slip it out, and then here's the actual tape. I don't know why it says 2011 because I think this is released in. It says it released in 2017, but maybe it was recorded then or something. I don't know. So yeah, then you just got that track list, and then the album here. And as you can see, it says side A is 23 minutes. Side B is like 48 minutes, and it says please rewind all the way before playing because there's all that blank space on side A. There's just some like birds and stuff on the inside there. This is a very interesting album because side A is basically like folk songs in the style of like the Microphones, Mount Eerie, Phil Elverum, that kind of thing. So if you like him, and you like the music he makes, this is like definitely you should listen to this. I mean, it's really great, and I mean it's not as great as like some of the best Microphones material or anything, but it's really good. It's definitely for that style of like kind of psychedelic indie folk. Like this is super good, really beautiful and interesting experimental touches as well. But then you get to the the B side, and it's just this 48-minute like noisy, drony, dark ambient kind of piece. Most of the time, it just kind of sounds like it's simulating like wind noise, but with electronics. so it's not that interesting, honestly. I mean, it's not like offensive or anything, but it's just very kind of stale. It doesn't really keep my attention for that long, and it also just feels very out of place because it's just so different from side A. But I definitely think this is worth listening to, if not just for side A. Yeah, I mean, side B is not very interesting noise, but side A is very great, like psychedelic folk is beautiful. All right, then we have this mini CD. So this is the Haters and Breakdancing Ronald Reagan. So this is essentially, I guess it's both of them collaborating live for the first track. That's like 15 minutes, as you can see here, and then the second track, which is like 6 minutes, is I guess Johnny Cash, which is the actual name of Breakdancing Ronald Reagan. It's him taking that first track and basically like remixing it and doing more with it. So yeah, the first track is like almost noise wall, just like very harsh, high end, like piercing, just harsh noise. Not much variation, just kind of very ear splitting noise. And then side B is also pretty harsh, but more cut up style, more spastic, I guess. So this is from 2011, very goofy cover art, as you can see. So that's Johnny Cash, and that's I guess GX Jupiter Larson from the Haters, probably. And yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a plain white CD. Little boy. Yeah, that's good. All right, and then the last few things I'll show here are all from Niku Daruma, which is a noise duo that we actually played with, we being me and my friend, our project Ether Noise Project. We played a show at Slash Run in DC. It was definitely our most insane show yet, so insane that YouTube took down the video of the recording. So, hit me up personally if you want to see that, I guess. But yeah, that was a really fun show, and they put on a great show as well. Had a great time, and I wanted to support them because they're really cool. It's sort of like trans girls making noise, so that's always cool. But yeah, I basically I had only $10, and I wanted to buy like a $5 CD, and they only had like $3 of change or something. So for the extra $2 that I paid, they actually threw in like 2 extra CDs. So I'll just show, for the first thing that I wanted to get was this thing, which is in this little pouch. I just wanted to get it because it looked cool packaging. I didn't actually really know what was in it, but you take these things out, and it is the split between Niku Daruma and Goth Girl. Goth Girl is, I think, another, I believe she's trans, I don't know, but female Bandcamp artist. I don't know if I say Bandcamp, but I feel like she got her start on Bandcamp, and Bandcamp, I think, wrote an article about her, so that kind of got her more recognition. But anyway, this is kind of the main little insert. Goth Girl, Niku Daruma, see that. So yeah, it's actually like separated onto 2 mini CDRs here. So you have the Goth Girl side, which is, they're both just 5 minutes, and there's this weird like flattened kind of like cut off CDR, which I've never seen, which I guess makes it so there's only like 5 minutes of room on there. But yeah, Anesthetic Death is what that's called. And then the Niku Daruma one is this, and again, kind of this weird thing. And that's the info there. So yeah, really cool little packaging here. I love to get new like mediums, and I mean, obviously I have that other, I have a few other mini CDs, but these are like weird cut off ones, and yeah, it's just it's cool. As far as the noise itself, it's good. It's just like, yeah, I mean, it's like digital sounding, modern kind of harsh noise, but it's very good. Then one of the other CDs I got is this super cute Untitled 3-way. So that is between Turned Into a Girl, Shamehole, and Clown Doll. So Shamehole is, I think, the side project of one of the members of Niku Daruma, and then the other ones are just other artists that I didn't really know about beforehand. You have the track list in the back here, and it's just a kind of a simple thing. It comes out like this, and it has this kind of writing on it, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't remember a whole lot about this, to be honest. It was just like okay noise from what I remember. I might as well, while I'm showing this off, also show the last CD, which is just in this kind of simple case. And this is the split between Niku Daruma, Schifozoum or something like that, Glass Spitter, and Turn to a Girl. So Turn to a Girl is on both of these. This is called Beautiful Blade Perverts. And yeah, so Turn to a Girl makes kind of like weird power electronics that sometimes gets a little bit like lazy sounding to me. But I don't know. It's all right. Uh, yeah, I don't even remember some of these. Like, I think Schizozoum is like weird, almost techno-ish stuff, or like power noise kind of. Um, and then yeah, I mean Niku is just solid harsh noise, and Shamehole is like noisecore, I think. Yeah, I don't remember everything about all of these, but my impression of these two releases when I was done is it's all right. It's decent noise. But anyway, big thanks to Nikodruma for giving me these. More than I paid for probably. So yeah, that was a very fun show, and I hope to see you all again. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Probably not going to be getting a whole lot of physical music anytime soon until this pandemic is over with. But as soon as that happens, I'll probably be out to Skeleton Dust at some point and restock. But for now, this is probably the last record update you'll see in at least a few months. I do plan on probably doing other types of videos also while I'm home and don't have much else to do. So we'll see. I might do some like videos talking about just like noise as a concept and that sort of thing, different genres of noise maybe. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the future.